when you try to stand up for what you know is right, and maybe you're ahead of the masses, you become a target. And no one has been really a greater target than Miss Rachel. This is absolutely true. Miss Rachel. I know we're talking about a Miss Rachel who makes YouTube videos for children, decided to start speaking up for friends of hers. She was seeing people's limbs being blown apart, innocent lives. Now, in Palestine, right? She was seeing that our tax dollars were going to fight a war that had too much collateral damage. Okay, it's one thing if you want to just catch the bad guy, I understand. But too much collateral damage. Something like 50 to 70,000 innocent lives have been lost. They don't even know the numbers because it's so brutal. And Miss Rachel has just been fighting for these people. And every time she says, and I get it too. I get it too. I've been called every name under the sun. But every time she speaks up about one class of people, people say, well, what about this? There's actually starving people in Uganda, or there's starving people in Libya. And it's like, yes, that's the problem. So here's her response to speaking up for all of these kids that don't have voices. I'm so sick of children's human rights being treated like a joke. Children in the U.S. have a right to food. Give them the SNAP money. Children in Gaza have a right to live. 46 kids were killed yesterday. Children in Sudan have the right not to be starved and killed. In El Fasher, 130,000 children are cut off from aid and starving. Children in the Congo have the right not to be starved and killed. 28 children were killed in February. Now, the issue with this is part of Doge, right? Doge was this idea like we're going to cut all the government waste, right? And they said they were going to get rid of trillions of dollars. USAID had a budget of $20 billion, which sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but it comes out to $100 per person per year. And this money was to help starving kids or help people that had AIDS in other countries. And it really was a project to help people with famines. And also this $20 billion in some part went to U.S. farmers who were creating peanut butter pouches that were going to people in famines and famine areas. And all of this money that we pay into a system is meant to help people. Now, there is waste that exists and it should be addressed. But the fact that we cut off USAID, the fact that we fund wars in other countries that lead to the blowing off of limbs or the death of innocent lives, women, children, doctors, things like that, we should be able to talk about that. Miss Rachel should be able to talk about that. And boy, there was a group that wanted her investigated for terroristic threats. This is insane. So she's here saying the world matters, and she shouldn't have to say every single group of people that need help, but she does. And I continue to have friends, and I know you're listening out there, and I love you guys, but I continue to have people saying, well, what Miss Rachel has done is wrong because she's only why speak up about this? Well, because we live in a system that is voting. Our leaders are accepting money from political organizations that are empowering our leaders to continue to spend money on wars that are blowing up children, innocent lives. I've spoken on the phone with people. I will not name names. I've spoken on the phone with people that believe that those innocent lives that have been killed, maimed, tortured, brutalized, that they are all terrorists because they will eventually grow up to hate the other side that did that to them. And yes, people get radicalized over war, absolutely. But it's insane to think that we're dehumanizing people that might have a different skin color or a different eye color than ours. These are God's children. We're all humans. I hate that I have to say it. I hate that Miss Rachel has to say it. She's now being recognized. She's actually being recognized by Glamour magazine. I spoke to her briefly yesterday to congratulate her, and she said she was shocked that they were going to bring up the Gaza at all because everyone was silent on this. Here's what she had to say.
How did you meet your husband? Tell us the story, the love story.
I went to Unitarian church, and we were both raised Unitarian. I actually picked that certain church to go to in New York because they had a preschool attached. And I thought, you know what? I'm looking for something deeper with my religion, spirituality. Let me go there and maybe I can have an opportunity with the kids. I went to church and I went to coffee hour, and the young adult people came over, and I was talking to people, and someone said, do you want to meet the best musician in the world? And I was like, oh my gosh, the best musician in the world is here? Definitely, because I'm a musician. And then it was like, this is Aaron. And he said he was hanging up his name tag to leave, and then he saw my smile. And we walked out together and we went for a walk. He said, I'll walk you out. And I was like, oh,
Very chivalrous.
okay, I like this guy. He knows what he wants to do. And then he walked me out, and we've been together since.
There it is. The meet cute love story of Miss Rachel and her husband. Now, it's lovely stuff, but Miss Rachel is the modern day Mr. Rogers. That's what she is. And there was a time during segregation when Mr. Rogers, it was newsworthy when he washed his feet in the same pool of water as a black man. And at the time, that was a big deal that he was willing to show a new generation of people, children, that were all the same. This was a big deal. This was at a time when, community pools were getting poisoned with acid. I mean, insane stuff. And now we live in a time where Miss Rachel, it's controversial for her to have on a kid who's a double amputee, a 3-year-old. And it was controversial for her to have on Palestinian children. And people would say, yeah, but what about there's other people that it's like, absolutely, the world's on fire in so many different ways. But Miss Rachel, using her audience and using her megaphone to do good might sound easy, but how many corporations out there, how many people out there are not speaking up about the world's issues? They exist. Miss Rachel is a rock star. Just to end on a high note. How about this? This is Miss Rachel. Someone said, Glamour magazine said, it's fair to say that Miss Rachel is basically the Beyonce of children's entertainment. So how could we pass up on the opportunity to give the Glamour staff's children a surprise meet and greet with the 2025 Glamour Woman of the Year? Have a listen to this. This is Miss Rachel in character, surprising kids of Glamour Mag.
Okay, guys, who's here for a surprise? Okay.
Hi, friends. I'm so excited to learn with you today. Mama! Hi, friends. My name is Miss Rachel. I'm so happy to see you today. Hi, my friends. Thank you for...
And then kids come up and give her hugs. It's a beautiful sight, and it's wild to think that this is someone considered controversial. It's wild that I will get DMs for highlighting her right now. I swear that's the case. It is wild. More love, more fearless pursuit of happiness and fearless pursuit of unity. That's what we need. That's what we're getting if we can just let the hate get the fuck out of the way. It's there. Miss Rachel leading the path. We'll be back this afternoon. We're here twice a day. Politics, pop culture, everything in between. We'll see you then. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.